For daily ask Reddit what screams I'm way richer than I look. Unique or somewhat odd collections of things most people don't collect. I worked in a high-end whiskey store for many years, and the number of shabbily dressed men from overseas who strode in to spend $5,000 to $10,000 on whiskey for their collection was staggering. They were always chatty, knowledgeable, and above all casual. One man in particular had been collecting for decades. His wife was fully supportive. She had her own collection of rare items, he implied, and he enjoyed traveling the world to pick them up as an excuse to go someplace. Conversations often went like this. Customer, I see from your website you have the rare bottling from 1967. Do you have any in stock now? Me, we do, yes. It's downstairs. In fact, we have a few of that vintage, as well as the 1953, 1966, and 1972. Would you like to know the prices? Customer, oh, great. I think that fills a couple of gaps in my collection. And if not, the guys and my wife will enjoy cracking one open. Can you package them up for me please? Me, would you like to know how much they are, sir? Customer, can you ship them all to my place? In fact, if you had discounts for bulk items, I'd like to know what other vintages you have. And so on. I went to dinner with the GF and her parents. After we ate, the owner came out and asked how the meal was, and then we left without a bill ever coming to the table. On the way home I asked GF about it, and she said her dad had tabs at all the restaurants he liked to eat at. As we were leaving, the valet brought the cars around, and I mentioned I liked his Tahoe. I asked what year it was, and he kind laughed and said whatever is the newest one. I didn't know he owned a car dealership in another city. I work at a luxury resort. People call to book rooms with me all day and they aren't cheap. I can tell when it's obvious a young couple who had to scrape together the dough for the cheapest room. But every once in a while I'll get a call from someone who casually calls and asks to book the biggest room without asking for the price. They know exactly what they want, and the price means nothing to them. 2.5k a night. No biggie. Here is my card number. I represented a guy who was / rich. I mean as in filthy. Owned buildings, plural, in Manhattan. I was in house counsel to his company. So one day he comes to my office and tells me he needs me to go to a meeting with him cross town and about 30 blocks north. He tells me to wait, he has to get the car. So I'm standing on the street and he pulls up in the company van that his employee use for building maintenance to carry stuff to renovate spaces for new tenants, etc. It's pretty crappy. On the way I asked him why he was driving this. All things considered, he was an older self-made guy who was pretty down to earth. Why the van? He said obviously he could drive or take a cab years before Uber, but why bother? In Manhattan most spaces in Midtown on down are parking for commercial vehicles only, and parking a car can be pricey. The van had commercial plates, so he could pretty much park in front of wherever he was going. Why waste money on a cab or parking a car? Couldn't argue with that. We parked right in front of the building. They avoid any discussion of money. When paying for anything they like to do it privately / quietly / before anyone else is aware, so you end up walking in and out of places feeling like you haven't paid, almost as if money doesn't exist. They don't flaunt it. Sorts. I was dating a girl and didn't realize she and her whole family were rich until her dad picked us up for dinner in a brand new Mercedes. Proceeded to pay for everything during our trip, and our Christmas presents were first class flights to the US from Australia for a ski holiday. That's around AUD $10-15k, US $7-11k per person. He also financially supports his other daughter at Cornell University / living in the US. I grew up poor and still am, lol. But I never realized how poor until I met that family. Brands that are so expensive that us poor people haven't heard them. That's how I've seen my tools as of late. When I first started working, I would buy the cheapest brand of tools just to have them. I worked for guys that owned really nice tools that they had bought 10 to 15 years before and still use them. I saw one called Fieldpiece and asked how much he paid for the multimeter. I had just bought my first one at $30. He bought his for $240 and had a lifetime service warranty on them. Within a couple of months, mine stopped working. There is a reason why people spend thousands on their tools. When asked about their income, they respond with uncomfortable without elaborating. Flashing money will leave you in a lonely place. If you have a few dollars, you don't want to make others feel strange. If you flash it, then they don't want to talk about their problems because it feels more embarrassing. And you can't talk about yours because now you're just whining. As if money in the bank is the solution to all of our problems. It's just the solution to one problem. Money can be pretty isolating, and this is why some rich people only hang out with other rich people. But not all rich people are very interesting. The type that nonchalantly offers you a spot in their luxury box at a game or concert, or covers your course fees at a golf outing, even though you barely know them. Knew a gentleman that lived fairly modest. One time mentioned I was looking forward to going to a NBA game for the local team. He said, "Oh, that's nice. If you stop by the office I give you some better seats." I didn't think much of it, but did need to go by the office for work. Checked in at the front. "Hey, I'm so and so and here to see boss." "Oh, hello, I have your courtside tickets and he will be down in a few to sign your form." She handed me 5 courtside seats. He had them for every game in case he or a customer wanted to go. I had reason to frequent a small but popular marina at a certain Gulf Coast city. I encountered one old man often enough we greeted each other with random chit chat. Lovely gentleman. He wore a crumpled old hat, a grease-spotted t-shirt, cut-off jeans, and worn deck shoes. He always putted around the largest yacht in the marina, about 60 feet long. He would polish the chrome, wash the deck, clean the life preservers. I didn't assume he was the maintenance guy because he had such self-confidence. I never saw him actually take it out. I got up the nerve to ask security who he was. He owned most of the commercial real estate in the city.